Hi everybody. We're going to do a little pentatonic scale work today. We're going to do these very cool scales. I call them the sliding pentatonic scales. If you don't know what a pentatonic scale is, you can check out some other videos. A lot of people, when they first start, they learn a pentatonic pattern. It looks like this. I'm going to start on A, which is the 5th fret of the bass string. And it looks like this. So if you don't know that pattern, you might want to go find a video that explains it. I don't have one currently. That's an A minor pentatonic. It's also a C major pentatonic. So I'm going to start with what's called a sliding pentatonic, which I found to be very useful. You can fake your way through all kinds of music if you know these. Okay, so we're going to start working in G. So here's the G note on the low E string. And I'm going to give you a minor scale and a major scale. So the minor scale starts on that note with the ring finger. Now I'm going to play it for you and then explain how to get it. Okay, so what did I do? 3rd fret, ring finger on the bass string. Then I go to the A string, 1st fret, A string, 3rd fret, slide to the 5th, and then to the 3rd fret of the D string, and then the 5th fret of the D string. Now I've gone 1 octave. I've gone from this G to this G. Again, I'll play that slowly. That pattern can be repeated all over the guitar. The only thing you have to watch out for is the infernal B string, because the B string, if you know how to tune it using this method, you'll realize that B string is tuned in 2 whole steps apart rather than 2.5. So you have to adjust your scales. If you don't, none of this makes any sense, don't worry about it. I'll explain how to do that. So here's the pattern so far. Now we're on G again. We're going to start there. That's 5th fret on the D, 3rd fret on the G, 5th fret on the G, slide to 7. Now, normally we'd just go to the 5th fret on the B string, but we don't. We have to raise that up 1 fret. Now we're on the 6th fret of the B string to the 8th. That's our next octave. So we've gone from this G, 5th fret of the D string, to 8th fret of the B string. Again, that goes like this. Okay? And then from there we can continue on, play a partial scale. So we cover a lot of ground going across the neck plus up and down the neck. And I do pretty much the entire scale with just my ring and my index. Occasionally I'll put the middle finger in there, but you can do the whole thing with just those 2. So if we were playing just a little blues riff, that's just right at that scale. A. So that was the scale starting on this A note, which is the 7th fret of the D. If you already didn't get it, but you're going to have to start knowing where some of these notes are, and these scales will help you figure that out. So Here's the A minor pentatonic. Same pattern as the G, just moved up to the 5th fret. Okay. Now the beautiful thing about this scale is we don't just get to start it on this string, we can start it on any string. So if I wanted to play a D blues or D minor pentatonic, I can go over to the A string 5th fret. That's a D note. I don't have to go way up here. I can, but if I want to play it down here, and I follow exactly the same sequence. Now the next note's the B string, so instead of going there, I go up 1 fret. Okay, so that's starting on your 5th string. So this is pretty quick. These are the fundamentals, if you will. And one more, I'll give you the E, which is nice because you can play that with the open E string. And I'll tell you the frets. So 7th fret on the A string, 5th fret on the D, 5th fret on the D string, 7th fret on the D, slide to the 9th, 7th fret on the G, 9th fret on the G, that's your E again. Then you go to the B string, 8th fret, 10th fret, slide to 12th, and then 10th fret high E, 12th fret high E. Just another important thing to note, if you start your scale on the 5th string, in this case an E, you will end up on that same note on the high string if you do the scale correctly. So there's my E, there's my E. So that's, again, you can use that for bluesy stuff, for minor-y stuff. Throw some bends in there. It's a very, very handy scale. Now, let me talk about the major one. The major one is fingered not identically, but very close. So we'll go back to G. So now we're going to start on the G note, 3rd fret of the bass string, with our pointer finger. So we're going to start there. Then we're going to go to the 5th fret, slide to the 7th. This scale, let me play it for you. I call it the My Girl scale because you can get My Girl with it. Here's the whole scale. So, how do I get My Girl out of that? All right. So let me show you that pattern. So now we start on the G root. We go to the 5th, which is an A, and slide to the 7th. And then the D, which is an A on the 5th string. 5th fret on the A string, pardon me. So E 3rd, E 5th, slide to 7th, A on the 5th, A on the 7th, D on the 5th, D on the, and now that's your G. You've just done an octave. And then you go from there, 5th fret, 7th, slide to 9, 7th fret on the G, 9th fret on the G, 8th fret on the B, that's your next octave, this G to this G. And then from there, you're on the 8th fret of the B, 10th fret, slide to 12, and then 10th fret on the high E, 12th fret on the high E, slide up to the high G, which is the 15th fret. Woohoo! So cut this up into little hunks. Take my video and just, what I would recommend is doing a couple strings at a time with both these. For example, here's your G, I would go, and then backwards. Because if If you just practice in one direction, all of your solos will end up going up and then you'll have to start over. So you really want to be able to practice going up and going down. All right, so that's the major. Lots of Allman Brothers. Country, that's that kind of sound. And again, you can start this anywhere. Here's your A, same pattern, just starting on the 5th fret. Let's say I want to do an E. I'm on the 7th fret of the A string, which is an E note. I followed the same pattern, and when I got to the B string here, I moved whatever note I was expecting to play up 1 fret. So one more time on the E, I'll do that one. This is the E major. I'll say it and play it. 7th fret A, 9th fret, slide to 11. Then that's the 9th fret on the D string, 11th fret, 9th fret on the G. Now that's another E. It's important that you get to know where those roots are. Then the E, which is the 9th fret of the G string, to the 11th, slide to the 13th. Now, you expect you're going to go to the 11th fret on the B, but you don't. You go to the 12th. And then 14th. And then your high E. All right? So there's your scales. Major, minor, I'll do some more videos with these guys, but they're great scales. You can use them to fill, you know. Because you can get right back to a chord progression, or you can use them and drop chords into them. A lot of Hendrix style stuff. It's all based on those pentatonics. And then using the triads, which I also have a video for those. So very, very useful. I highly recommend you get these guys down. See you later.